Hello, my name is Brian Largent. This is another episode of 3 Minute Thursday. Today I'm going to be talking about something I saw just recently at a medical practice that we were seeing for one of my children. Walked in, went to the front desk, get him checked in. I looked down and over the counter on the left is their little computer. They had a little bitty Dell computer on the counter there and the monitor next to it. And while I'm talking to the person behind the counter, I noticed that there's a sticky note on there with all the passwords written for various different things that the organization needed to log into. So they're written on that sticky note, and it really resonated with me. We work with clients all the time, and we try to train and educate our clients not to write passwords down or leave them where they could possibly be seen by a patient or anyone else for that matter. Just really not to write them down at all if you can help it. And when I actually realized that this is my life and my children whose information could be accessed on their systems because they simply wrote down the password and login for all their systems where anyone that walked up to the counter could see it, it really concerned me. It actually hit a little closer to home than it normally does. I think these things when I go to client sites, when I see passwords written down, that could really compromise their data. But when it's your own family and you're going to a practice and you see that kind of stuff, it really does start to grate on you a little bit, to be honest. So I started thinking about it. I thought I really need to educate my clients and potential clients on what to look for in your organization to make sure your employees aren't doing things like that. Really need to do a walk around your practice and look for where employees might be hiding passwords or storing passwords and make sure they're not doing that. For instance, I've got a couple of examples here on my desk. On the computer, I just wrote a password on a sticky note and just stuck it right to the computer. So you'll want to check your computers, make sure that people aren't just sticking passwords on the computers. The next place is under mouse pads. That's the most popular place to store passwords. And if I was trying to compromise a system, that'd be one of the first things I would do is lift up the mouse pad and look for a password. In fact, we've done that at client sites before. Whenever they lock themselves out of their computer and they're trying to remember their password, we're trying to help them, and lo and behold, well, there's where you store your password, so we can get in, but you really need to get rid of that, okay? So, keep in mind that these on your computers, you think to yourself, the employee does, no one's gonna see these because I'm the only one that sits behind my computer. No, the cleaning crew comes in, you've got employees, occasionally you might ask a patient or a customer to come around to your computer and look at something on the screen. We've seen that quite a bit. So those passwords, when they're on there, and everyone's gonna know they're a password. If you don't write password on it, it's got a couple of random letters and stuff. No, everyone knows what a password looks like, and especially if it's got your name or a pet's name like Roofy or something, in case you call your dog Roofy. But anyway, so if you have these passwords, people are going to know what they are. So next one is on your keyboard, having a password there, and of course, even more commonplace, under your keyboard, having your password, and then stuck to your monitors for easy access as well. Those are really common places that people store their passwords, and it's important that you walk around your practice and you make sure that no one's doing that periodically. Also look in people's drawers, just pull them open. If they've got passwords, usually going to be right on their sticky note there or their folder. If they've got papers on their desk, look through, just make sure they don't have any passwords written on papers. But we've seen everything from banking account numbers, logins to electronic health record systems, logins to email, where just about anyone walking through the room could see these logins and passwords at medical practices. So just wanted to cover that. I also wanted to go over just kind of like a bonus item that we see quite a bit. You'll have an employee who needs to transfer files to someone else in an organization. So let's say they do an export of all of the patients in an organization. They've got it in a nice Excel spreadsheet, and they want to give it to someone down the hall. So what they'll do is they'll pull out their keys, and they've got their little handy-dandy USB drive. That's their personal drive. And they'll plug that into the computer. And then from there, they'll copy that Excel spreadsheet with all of your patient data onto their personal USB drive, walk down the hall, plug it into another computer, copy it onto that one, and now you've got someone walking around with all of your patient information, or at least some of it, on their personal USB drive, untrackable, untraceable, nothing you can do about it. There's things you can do to prevent that from being able to happen by disabling your USB drives for anything other than maybe just powering a phone. Your employees like to plug their phones into the computer, which we don't recommend. But if you've disabled data transmission on your USB ports, you're pretty safe. We still don't recommend allowing your employees to plug phones into your computers. That's the equivalent of them merging their personal device that you don't manage at all with your office devices. It's definitely a risk you don't want to take. So anyway, just wanted to let you guys know, look at your office spaces, look at what's going on, make sure none of those passwords are visible. I'm not the only person in the world that knows those are passwords. Kids know their passwords. You have a kid walk into your practice, he sees some passwords, more likely he's going to go out and try to do something with that. It's very easy to find your company information from outside your network, like your IP address, which is the address for how someone can go from outside your network to touch your internal network. There's more involved, but that's the general gist of it. So to try to isolate all that, get those passwords where they're not accessible by anyone. Do not allow your employees to write them down. Have a policy handbook that dictates how people are supposed to store passwords. Ideally, they don't write them down at all. They change them every 90 days. They have at least 8 characters, that kind of thing. Not changing your passwords every 90 days is acceptable as long as you're using passwords that are reasonably structured with capital letter, number, special character, and so many characters long, like 12, 15, or so on. So that's a fairly new standard by the National Institutes for Standards and Technology, which is what the government basically uses. So anyway, if you have any questions or concerns, or you'd like for one of our IT guys to walk through your office and see if we can find anything, give us a call. We'd love to help you guys out and try to secure your information better, and also that helps secure us and our family's information that's on your systems as a patient. So have a great rest of your week. Thank you.